Lapsed members. All clubs have them, and most of us want them back. But how can we do that? The foremost strategy to bringing former members back into the club involves the practice of re-engagement. This goes beyond asking them to rejoin and helps them understand why they should become a member again and how they'll benefit when they do. In today's program, we will talk about why re-engagement matters, take a walk through the re-engagement process, and share some of our favorite best practices. This is Re-engaging Lapsed Members. Re-engagement is a modern approach to membership retention. It treats our members as people rather than just numbers. When we re-engage our members, we do more than simply try to recapture their membership. We're trying to help them reinvest in an organization that once mattered enough for them to join. Personify, a nonprofit technology and community solutions provider, reminds us that leaving an organization doesn't always mean that our member has stopped believing in the organization or caring about its mission. Simply put, membership engagement is different at different phases of life. There may be times when a member needs to step back because of family obligations, personal health issues, busy careers, or any of the other million complications that life can throw our way. That's why it's important to remember that members value welcoming and inclusive communities. Our flexible Sertoma Club structures offer some room for you to meet members where they are in their lives and in their membership journey. Re-engaging members also gives you a stronger starting point for your retention strategy. These members have already joined your organization before, meaning they had an interest in or need for your club at some point in the not-too-distant past. These low-hanging fruit may be some of the easiest members to bring back into the fold because they likely still have a personal connection to the club and its members. If all this still isn't enough to convince you, let's look at some statistical facts. AnnexCloud, an online customer experience platform, found that a bump in retention of just 5% can raise profits for businesses anywhere from 25 to 95%. While that may not translate exactly to nonprofits like your club, it is important to frame this in as an increase in donations, volunteer support, etc. 82% of organizations also agree that retention is cheaper than acquisition, meaning that it is less expensive to engage with current and former members than trying to find new ones. And finally, 65% of business comes from repeat customers. Simply said, re-engagement works. So now that we have the foundation of why re-engagement is important to your club's membership strategy, we can start to think about what the re-engagement process looks like. I have broken this down into 8 steps: planning, finding the why, choosing your target, designing the campaign, following best practices, incentivizing the rejoin, implementing change, and following up. The first step of any process should be to make a plan. Figure out what the heck you're doing. SMART goal setting is a favorite for many of our clubs. This means that your re-engagement plan will have specific, measurable goals that are relevant, attainable, and can be achieved within a realistic time frame. Let's say, for instance, you want to reach out to lapsed members from the past 2 years. Your SMART goal might be something like, our Sertoma Club will conduct a re-engagement campaign over the next 60 days by targeting members who have lapsed 6 to 24 months ago, with the goal of having at least 3 members rejoin. Once you have your goal in place, you should start to look at the audience you are working with. For most membership groups, this means asking members why they left through an exit survey. Sertoma headquarters does this by asking for such feedback on the member information forms used by club officers to add or drop members. We also survey exiting national members when they choose not to renew. We collect that information over time so that we can monitor trends and address issues as they arise. Personify suggests that we also find ways to compare lapsed members as a group to your active members. Outside of status, is there anything unique about the group who has left your club? Are they of a certain age, living in a certain part of the area served by your club, or share some other common identifiable trait that can help explain why they're leaving and opportunities for your club to keep them? One word of caution here. It's important to remember that there are 2 scopes of reference: the big picture and individual issues. Just like with any change, it may not make sense to shift your culture or operations to fit the needs of one member. It needs to make sense for the greater organization. Instead, find ways to address the issue at hand with the individual to see if a compromise can be reached. If not, remember that turnover is a natural part of the membership life cycle, and sometimes it's just time for a member's journey with your club to end. Next up, we should begin to prioritize our targets. Within any group, there are going to be key members that would be especially fruitful to recapture. These are the individuals that stand to benefit your club in a critical way. This could come in the form of financial support, especially if they represent a strong sponsorship connection or donor base. It could come as a volunteer, a member known to give their time to help out at events, lead committees, and step up when necessary. It could also mean event engagement, or those who are going to attend the events your club offers and also encourage others to do the same. These three groups, which may and often do intersect at times, represent the potential for sustainable involvement, explains membership technology company IMUS, and this is critical to the long-term viability of Sertoma. IMUS also points out that we should not overlook key demographics that can be important to your club's overall strategic direction. For instance, as many clubs age, it may become important to target re-engaging younger members. Likewise, when you have projects that require a lot of daytime volunteerism, targeting retired populations may be the best strategy. In today's day and age, email marketing is the number one way most membership organizations are going to approach the win-back re-engagement campaign. It's easy to do, typically affordable, and accessible to nearly any organization. It's also timely. As yourmembership.com puts it, it can immediately reignite the spark that once made individuals join and get them excited again about being part of your organization's future. In fact, according to Marketing General Incorporated's 2020 Membership Marketing Benchmarking Report, 76% of membership organizations say that email is the channel that generates the most reinstated lapsed members. One of the questions your club is going to likely ask first is how much is enough? How many emails are ideal? Most membership practitioners agree that one email isn't likely enough. A person may be too busy to act when that comes through and may need to hear from you again. Most of the time, 1 to 5 emails will help keep you out of spam territory, but I'd personally aim for something between 2 and 4. I tend to prefer 3 personally and aim for that number when conducting my own membership rejoin campaigns for Sertoma. I'll typically spread those out over a time of 30 to 60 days, kind of depending on the message. However, there's no definite rule here. It just depends on what is going on within your club. For instance, if it's structured around a specific upcoming event or informational drip campaign. Since many clubs aren't fortunate to have professional marketing experts in their midst, I wanted to share some simple best practices that can make an email campaign easy for anyone. First off, make sure that you're using second-person you language. It should be all about what they would get out of it, not what your club gets out of it. Make it feel personal, because it is personal. A club is made up of people who spend time face-to-face with each other. Your language should feel like your club. Demonstrate value. Help them understand what they get out of being a member. You can especially share new benefits, events, and programs that have come up since they were last involved. Play to your club's strengths. What makes you special in your community? What do you all do better than anyone else? Don't neglect the emotional appeal. FOMO, or the fear of missing out, is real and can be a great way to excite people about rejoining your club. It can also tug on the nostalgic heartstrings if done well. As Personifize says, ultimately, people want to join and stay involved when you provide services they need and enable emotional connections to others in the organization. Make sure that the list you're working from is correct. You don't want to reach out to current members on accident, so review your data before sending out any messages. And finally, think about what catches your attention. Subject lines and headlines within an email matter and are sometimes all a member will ever look at. Keep language fun and conversational, and don't be afraid to share pictures in your emails to further appeal to emotion and FOMO. Next up, consider incentivizing their renewal. Give them something immediately for rejoining. Many organizations will offer a discount of some kind, but it doesn't need to be limited to a savings on dues. Consider other ways you can make rejoining attractive. This might be through a small gift made possible thanks to a club sponsor, a free ticket to an upcoming club event, free meals for a quarter, or any other benefit that might push someone hesitating over the edge in your direction. One thing to keep in mind is that the incentive should be limited. This can mean in the number of times a member can get it, helping you to avoid members who perpetually lapse just to take advantage of the deal. Or it can be in length of time to encourage members to act now as to not miss out. Again, there's that FOMO we were talking about. We've talked about change a little bit here and there over the course of the presentation, but I wanted to share a few other thoughts here. As we know, it can be great to have something new and fresh to offer to returning members. Maybe the change addresses why they left in the first place, or maybe it's just an exciting new opportunity to serve others. It also shows that your club is an organization in motion, still growing and changing to fit your ever-evolving needs. Your club is not stuck in the past, but rather looking forward to the future of what Sertoma will mean to your community. However, as always, it's important to remember not to create change just for the sake of change. You need to be realistic about what your club can do. Change should be strategic, proactive, and well thought out, rather than reactive and rushed. Pay attention to what your budget allows, the time you have available, and the members you have to support your initiative. And finally, what comes next? Like any sales process, membership re-engagement should involve follow-up. This can be done by phone with a few club volunteers. These calls do not only help you gauge interest, but also help you figure out what worked and what didn't. That way, you can curtail your win-back experience by individual when appropriate, and also inform your future re-engagement efforts. The strategy of re-engagement is an important one if you ever hope to reconnect with former members and old Sertoma friends. We have provided templates, messaging, and imagery you can use in the resources section of the Member Center at sertoma.org to help you get started. We also have additional trainings on membership retention that you can access to explore this practice further. Want to discuss this or other topics with your fellow Sertomans? Join our Facebook group at the link on the screen to connect with other members from the U.S. and Canada and your national headquarters staff.